Remember back in May when Diddy publicly apologized for abusing Cassie on video? Well, now he's facing trial in court for more serious accusations, including charges from his inner circle. What's shocking is that someone he trusted has turned on him, leading to his arrest. One person, nicknamed Diddy's Gazan Maxwell, is even connected to the death of Michael Jackson. This betrayal, many say, is Diddy's fault for what he did to Cassie on September 17th. 2024. Diddy was arrested in New York after a federal grand jury indicted him on multiple charges, including sex trafficking and racketeering. He's been in court before, but this latest arrest stems from accusations that have been simmering since the early 2000s. The case gained public attention in November 2023 when his ex-girlfriend, Cassandra Ventura, sued him claiming years of abuse. Although the case was settled in just one day, many suspect Diddy paid her a large sum to keep things quiet. Despite the settlement, videos surfaced later showing Diddy attacking Cassie and apologizing for it, raising doubts about his innocence. If he wasn't guilty, why apologize? Cassie's lawsuit paints a disturbing picture. She accused Diddy of years of sexual and physical abuse starting when she was just 19 and he was 37. She said he exposed her to drugs and forced her into degrading situations, even making her have sex with other men while he filmed it. These are serious allegations, but Diddy and his lawyers deny them, calling the lawsuit a money grab. However, the leaked video footage contradicts his claims. In response to the video, Diddy released an apology saying, "I make no excuses. My behavior in that video is inexcusable, but many believe he's only sorry because he got caught." Online comments on his apology echoed the same sentiment. People aren't buying his sudden remorse. One guy wrote, "This is an example of someone who is not truly sorry for the misdeed. He's only sorry he got caught." Another said, "If you're sorry, go to jail for it." And a third wrote, "The stress he's going through has gotten him to start looking like Shrek." In Cassie's lawsuit against Diddy, she referenced his speech at the 2022 BET Awards where he publicly thanked her, saying, "Thank you for holding me down during the dark times. Love."
Yeah, and also Cassie for holding me down in the dark times. Love.
From what we've seen, it seems like he was the one holding her down. Either way, the video shows him behaving very strangely, and somebody commented that it looks like he's on ecstasy. In his BET speech, Diddy was sweating a lot and telling everyone he loved them, which makes people suspicious. What's even more interesting is that he didn't just thank Cassie, he also thanked others who are now tied to his alleged crimes. This includes his lawyer, who's been crucial in keeping him out of jail, and a bishop who's now accused of being part of the scandal too.
I gotta give a special thank you to the people that was really there for me. Bishop T.D. Jakes.
Diddy also thanked his chief of staff, Christina Korm, during his speech, calling her KK now. Many believe she played a role similar to what Ghislaine Maxwell did for Jeffrey Epstein. But before diving into that, let's look at how Diddy got a bishop and other high-profile people involved in his wrongdoings. In February 2024. One of Diddy's former employees, a well-known R&B producer named Rodney Jones, aka Lil Rod, filed his own lawsuit against Diddy, which took things to a whole new level. Lil Rod's lawsuit not only gave more detailed accounts of Diddy's criminal activities but also named influential figures linked to him, including a bishop named T.D. Jakes. Diddy often talks about his faith, so you'd think his connection to the bishop was religious. However, as with many things involving Diddy, there's more to the story. Bishop T.D. Jakes, a Dallas megachurch pastor and motivational speaker with a huge social media following, was mentioned in Lil Rod's lawsuit. It claims there's strong evidence that Diddy tried to use his relationship with the bishop for personal gain to soften the impact on his public image of Cassie Ventura's lawsuit. That's not all. Bishop T.D. Jakes was also accused in December 2023 of being involved in Diddy's alleged sex parties. Although the reports weren't verified, the bishop addressed the claims during a Christmas live stream, which has since been deleted. In his defense, he said, "If it's true, the worst that could happen is I just need to sincerely repent from my heart as Diddy's lawsuit unfolds." We're likely to learn more about the bishop's role in the scandal, but he's not the only big name that Lil Rod has mentioned. If you're wondering who Lil Rod is, the lawsuit describes him as a musical prodigy. He's created a commercial space for music recorded by some of the biggest and most respected artists in the industry. In other words, he's an emerging star in music production, having started his career in the Southside Chicago music scene, and around August 2022, he received a call from Sean Diddy Combs. According to the lawsuit, the call from Diddy was a request for Rod to produce a few songs on an R&B album titled The Love Album. Off the grid, it sounds pretty innocent, right? But the love Diddy was talking about wasn't what Rod expected. He agreed to work with Diddy, but says his life hasn't been the same since. Rod only started working for Diddy at the end of 2022, so his claims focus on recent events. If what he's saying is true, these allegations aren't from some dark chapter in Diddy's past. They're happening now, between September 2022 and November 2023. Right around the time Cassie Ventura's lawsuit was quickly filed and resolved. During that period, Rod produced 9 songs for Diddy's Love album. He spent a lot of time with him, even living with Diddy for months, missing birthdays and important family events. While it's normal for a producer and artist to build a close working relationship, this seemed a bit too close. Rod traveled with Diddy across the U.S., staying in his homes in L.A. and Miami, New York, and even on a yacht near the Virgin Islands. The lawsuit says that throughout his time with Mr. Combs, Mr. Jones witnessed, experienced, and endured many things that went far beyond his role as a producer on the Love album. Lil Rod claims to have substantial evidence against Diddy and others, including photos and videos showing serious illegal activities. The lawsuit reportedly includes hundreds of hours of footage and audio highlighting various crimes such as drug possession and sexual assault. What's notable is that Lil Rod's case began as a GoFundMe campaign but escalated into a $30 million lawsuit and a police raid on Diddy's home. Lil Rod alleges he was sexually assaulted and claims Diddy owes him $50,000 for unpaid work on an album. His GoFundMe plea mentioned fighting for his rightful earnings from the project. Diddy's lawyer has denied all allegations, calling Lil Rod a con artist looking for an easy payout. The lawsuit also implicates other high-profile names, including Meek Mill, and mentions individuals allegedly involved with underage girls and sex workers. While these names have been redacted from the lawsuit, they still play a crucial role in the unfolding drama of Philadelphia rapper who dated Nicki Minaj. Many speculate that one of the redacted names in the lawsuit is Meek Mill, while another is an unnamed Grammy-winning R&B singer who had legal issues after assaulting a Bajan billionaire. This is likely a reference to Chris Brown, as the billionaire is thought to be Rihanna. So far, Meek Mill and Chris Brown are allegedly linked to Diddy's activities, but there's also speculation that Usher's name has been redacted. Some believe that a 6th redacted name, described as someone who performed at the Super Bowl and had a successful Vegas residency, also points to Usher. It's crucial to note that since these names are redacted, they won't face charges related to the lawsuit. According to Lil Rod, the involvement of these figures revolves around Diddy allegedly trying to manipulate him into having sexual encounters. Diddy knew that Rod admired Stevie J, a well-known producer and TV personality who had worked on Diddy's albums in the past, which likely led to their interactions. In the lawsuit, it claims that Diddy used access to Stevie J and his knowledge of Mr. Jones' admiration of Stevie J to groom and entice Mr. Jones to engage in homosexuality. One of the ways this was done was by Diddy allegedly saying to Lil Rod that he had engaged in homosexual activity with the redacted rapper who many think is Meek Mill. The redacted R&B singer many think is Usher, as well as the producer Stevie J. If that wasn't enough, the lawsuit also claims that Diddy promised Lil Rod that he'd win the Grammys for Producer of the Year if he engaged in homosexuality. If this sounds unbelievable, the lawsuit includes screenshots supporting these claims, showing someone alleged to be Stevie J with another man. Currently, there's no direct evidence tying Meek Mill, Usher, or Chris Brown to similar activities, but the lawsuit promises more evidence will be presented in court. Meek Mill has publicly defended himself, denying all allegations. The lawsuit claims that Diddy told Lil Rod he had been intimate with a Philadelphia rapper who dated Nicki Minaj, leading many to speculate about Meek. In his defense, Meek stated, "I'm from Philly, I don't do coke or weird stuff," and emphasized that no one would approach him about anything like that. Although Meek's name is redacted, which means he won't have to appear in court, others like Young Miami will. Young Miami is Diddy's girlfriend and mother to one of his children. In November 2022, Lil Rod claims he was at Diddy's house in Miami with Young Miami and her cousin. He alleges that Diddy, while intoxicated, offered him cocaine, which he declined. While in the restroom, Young Miami's cousin allegedly entered and groped him despite his rejections. Adding to the troubling situation, Diddy introduced Lil Rod to Cuba Gooding Jr. on his yacht. Lil Rod feared Diddy was trying to manipulate him, and his fears were realized when Gooding allegedly groped and assaulted him in the studio. The lawsuit also mentions incidents of shootings, including a specific event in September 2022 at a writers and producers camp in LA, where Diddy, his son Justin, and a friend named G got into a heated argument. Lil Rod recalls this confrontation happening in a restroom nearby. The lawsuit claims that Lil Rod was about 2 feet away from the bathroom when he heard shots ring out. Lil Rod went into shock, fearing he might be next, as he stood next to the bathroom door. When it finally opened, Diddy and his son Justin emerged, while G was found on the floor, bleeding. Lil Rod rushed to help, trying to stop the bleeding from G's stomach, groin, and leg wounds. He ended up sitting G on the toilet while they waited for an ambulance. When the ambulance arrived, Diddy and Justin had vanished. According to Lil Rod, Diddy instructed everyone to keep quiet about the shooting and to tell police it was a drive-by incident outside the studio. If true, it sounds incredibly traumatic for Lil Rod. The bathroom where this happened was left in a bloody mess, and the document reveals that Lil Rod now suffers from anxiety, PTSD, and depression. Interestingly, official news reports about the shooting are very brief and state that it occurred around 3 a.m. mentioning only that the victim was shot while stepping outside. The reports say people were questioned but provide no details on the suspect or whether the shooting was gang-related. Given the high-profile nature of the gathering, it's surprising there wasn't a more thorough investigation. This incident highlights the alleged power Diddy had over security and even police, as his security team is also implicated in the lawsuit for allowing such things to happen. They're described as having a clear breach of duty. Diddy was allowed to enter the camp with guns, but that isn't the only time something similar has happened. Lil Rod said he was often forced to watch Diddy display his guns and brag about getting away with shooting people he allegedly claimed he was actually responsible for. A 1999 nightclub shooting in New York, one of Diddy's former bodyguards, Gene Deal, accused Diddy of snitching on his friend and fellow rapper Shine, who ended up in jail for the incident. According to Lil Rod's lawsuit, it wasn't Shine who fired the gun, but Diddy himself. Gene Deal spoke out, pointing out how Diddy seemed to escape punishment, even though he faced the same charges as Shine, who served time for the shooting.
The reason they got off was people was coming to Bad Boy Security, Paul and other people, and said that they were there.
It claims that Diddy provided those people with lawyers' information and encouraged them to make statements.
So they were giving them the DA's and the lawyer's card and tell them to go make a statement.
He claims that Shine himself has confronted Diddy about the snitching.
So they were giving them the DA's and the lawyer's card and tell him to go make a statement.
He then claims Shine himself has called Diddy out on the snitching.
Y'all hearing it from me, but Shine said it himself in his interview. You supposed to be my brother, and you got people testifying against me?
Even though these events happened back in the 90s, the new lawsuit sheds light on what really happened. Lil Rod claims that Diddy told him Jennifer Lopez, Diddy's girlfriend at the time, brought a gun into the club and handed it to him during an altercation. This incident became one of the biggest trials in hip-hop history, with Diddy facing charges for carrying an illegal weapon and bribing his driver to take the blame. Imagine being Lil Rod, constantly threatened, sexually assaulted, and blackmailed. Then you hear your boss brag about getting away with shooting someone and see him do it without facing any consequences. It's understandable why he might have felt terrified and why he stayed silent for so long. He was likely scared for his life. According to the lawsuit, Diddy made it clear that he had immense power in the music industry as well as with law enforcement. It's also revealed that police were supposedly in the bathroom where G was shot in 2022, saw the blood, and still went along with the false story about it being a drive-by outside. Diddy's power and influence were clearly significant, but according to the lawsuit, he wasn't the only one involved. Others, including a man named Fahim Muhammad, are alleged to have helped organize and orchestrate many of the crime, and who was Diddy's head of security was behind him being able to persuade the police to look the other way. The lawsuit claims that Diddy instructed Muhammad if they were ever pulled over in Miami or LA. It's interesting to note that Fahim was also the head of security for Michael Jackson and was present on the day he died. Diddy clearly has powerful connections, and several key figures are said to support his alleged criminal activities. One woman, Christina Coram, has been compared to Ghislaine Maxwell, a notorious figure in sex trafficking. Christina is Diddy's chief of staff, and Diddy even mentioned her at the 2022 BET Awards. The lawsuit suggests that she played a major role in Diddy's operations, including making his employees carry around fanny packs filled with various drugs for him to use whenever he wanted. It's also alleged that she arranged for sex workers and prostitutes for Diddy's parties. Christina has a background in business and French, having worked at Paramount Pictures and Burberry before joining Diddy's company, Bad Boy Entertainment, in 2013. She quickly rose through the ranks, becoming his day-to-day manager and then chief of staff in 2020. Diddy has consistently praised her importance to his operation. In 2021, he even posted a photo of her on Facebook, calling her his chief of staff at Comms Enterprises. He then goes on to say Christina aka KK keeps everything in my life and business running. She's been my right hand for the last 8 years and has consistently proven to execute and get__done. Don't know how I'd function without her. He even showered her with praise on Instagram back in 2020 in a now deleted post. Be warned, it's pretty cringy in it. He says happy birthday to my ace boo, my right hand, my day-to-day manager that keeps my world twirling, and she's always got my back. He continues by saying she pulls him out of the dark times he struggles with, and he mentions that the lawsuit reveals she cared for him too. According to Lil Rod, during his 13 months working for Diddy, he saw her telling other staff to keep Mr. Combs supplied with gummies and pills. She allegedly instructed everyone from the chefs to the butlers and housekeepers to ensure there was always a stock of drugs like cocaine, marijuana, and ecstasy so Diddy could use them whenever he wanted. It also claims she made Lil Rod carry a pouch filled with drugs. Whenever he was with Diddy, KKK was accused of hiring prostitutes and setting up events called freak-offs, was also said to be in charge of Stevie J, the producer whom Diddy allegedly tried to pressure Lil Rod into sleeping with him, and, together, they'd organized a lot of the illegal sexual activity that went on, including that of minors. Lil Rod claims that Diddy tried to grope and sexually assault him multiple times, and he even reached out to Christina for help. She responded to his complaints by saying, "You know Sean will be Sean." The lawsuit states that she dismissed Diddy's groping and sexual advances as just friendly horseplay and stated that those acts were Diddy's way of showing that he likes you. Lil Rod believes that Lil Rod was directly involved in grooming him for a homosexual relationship and helped Diddy in a sexual assault against him. That's what we know so far, but as the court case continues, we'll learn more about her role and the extent of her actions. For now, comparisons to Ghislaine Maxwell seem fitting. Along with Diddy's chief of security, Fahim Muhammad, she's a key player in this scandal. There are over 30 named defendants, and we've only begun to uncover how many people are involved. The lawsuit also details the Ethiopia Hato Mariam, the former CEO of Motown Records, as a high-ranking figure in this operation. She's also said to have helped organize and sponsor album listening parties that featured underage sex workers. The lawsuit claims she must have known that Diddy was drugging attendees with bottles of Delian tequila and Chirag vodka. As a sponsor of these events, the lawsuit holds her responsible for ensuring that underage girls and drink spiking didn't occur. This operation appears to have been happening since the 90s. As more names are brought to light and pieces of the puzzle fall into place, we'll gain a clearer understanding of what went on at these Diddy parties. The evidence against him seems overwhelming, so it'll be interesting to see if anyone else decides to turn on him. If you found this intriguing and want to hear more wild rap stories, click one of the cards on the screen.